Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, welcome back or welcome to my channel. It's Sunshine Lorena. So guys, it has been a while. This video is just gonna be a little quick, what I've been up to the last couple of months, where I've been and what I've read in the last few months, and spoiler alert, it hasn't been that much. Has not been that much books. If you've been following my channel for a while and you saw my March wrap up, which was my last wrap up, you would have seen that I was like, oh, I was in a bit of a slump at the start of the month, and I thought I got it back, guys. I thought I got it back at the end, and that was just a temporary blitz of reading, probably because I was on holiday, and you know, when you're on holiday you have lots of like spare time. So like, yeah, I was like loving life and reading. But yeah, it turns out the slump wasn't really away, first of all. And then second of all, I also was studying for an Italian exam, which I did at the end of May. And guys, I don't know the results yet, so don't ask me. I'm not gonna know for like 45 days, so yeah. But yes, a lot of my free reading time that I would have used went into studying. So I just haven't read that much over the last couple of months. I've been like full on panic mode basically. So yeah, that's kind of where I've been. So I haven't been posting, I didn't have time to film. I wasn't really reading much anyway, so it's not like you would have gotten that much content out of me if I did have time to film. But I'm back, guys. I am back. The exam is done. I have time, and yeah, so this first video of me being back is just going to be a wrap up of what I've read over the last 2 months, and yeah, should be nice, quick, short and sweet. So in April I read 3 books, guys, and in May I read 1 book. Okay, I mean 4 books isn't bad, guys. It's not bad, okay, but you can kind of see how I just kind of went into a slump because I didn't pick up a book for ages actually, and then I was just, you know, focusing on Italian. So yeah, so in April I had planned to take part in 2 readathons, which was the Magical Hobbathon, which I only read one of the books that I was supposed to read, so like totally failed that. It's the first time I've like ever failed a readathon because I always want to like be amazing and do well, and I did not this time. And then I was gonna also take part in Spring Fling-a-Ween. Didn't happen, guys. Did not happen. Just that slump got me. So yeah, so like I said, April I read 3 books, and so yeah, I usually kind of go through a quick few stats, but honestly there's not that much point, I think, with these ones. It has been all fiction, guys. My non-fiction reading has just went down the drain over like the last little period, so yeah. So in April, one of the books I read was The Notebook by Nicholas Sparks, which was one of my first books for Magical Hobbathon. And like I said, I did read it, and I did it in time of all my plans and when I was going to be going away, and I just, you know, didn't keep up with that. So this I hadn't read in years, guys. I hadn't read it in years, and the last time I read it was like a 5-star, and I mean it'd been like several years, okay? And I was a little bit disappointed by it this time. Like, I definitely prefer the film now, which I'm not someone who usually chooses a film over a book, but after having read it this last time, the film for me is definitely better. I just feel like it brings everything together better. So I ended up giving this like 3 stars, like, so I downgraded it down to 3, which yeah, 3.5. It just, yeah, it's still an enjoyable book. It's just was not 5-star feels anymore. If you don't know, this book is set in North Carolina. It follows the story of Noah Calhoun, and he is a southerner, and he recently returned from the Second World War, and he is restoring a plantation home, and he is haunted by images of a girl that he met 14 years ago that he was in love, and he has been unable to find her, and yet he cannot forget that summer that they spent together. He's content just to live with his memories until she unexpectedly returns to his town to see him once again. So yeah, Ali comes back, and they kind of, there's this whole reminiscing about their story, and you kind of see it, how it unfolds and how things happens between them. And I don't want to say too much, I don't want to spoil it, but it is, yeah, it's a nice story, cute. I did enjoy it, but yeah, no longer 5-star for me, guys, no longer. I also read The Burning God by R.F. Kwan. And this was the last one in the Poppy War series, guys, and it's the last one that we were doing for the read along, and we did a live show and everything, and guys, it was another 5-star for me. First of all, I just have to put the rating out there, 5 stars. So it's like my first ever like 5-star series, like Arif Kwan, like, you know how to like keep it up, you know how to write a fantastic series. So it was another 5-star one. Obviously I'm not going to tell you the plot of this one because then I'll give spoilers for the Poppy War and the Dragon Republic, but the basic premise is, in the beginning we start with our main character, Rin. She is from the southern part of the country, Nikan. She's from like kind of a farming area, so she is seen as like kind of a peasant girl. She has darker skin, and she ends up doing these exams that they have to try and get into this really fantastic, amazing school, so that her education can be paid and she's not going to be forced to marry someone that she doesn't want to marry. Which she does pass, and she goes to the school in Sinagard. It's like a military elite school, and you end up seeing kind of prejudice and everything that she faces because they're all like northerners, they're rich. She's like the complete opposite of them. So yeah, she does have a hard time in the school, but one teacher who everyone thinks is crazy decides to kind of help her because no one really is helping her, and he helps her train in something, and I don't want to say too much more about that, you know, spoilers. And the third Poppy War is just a spark away, guys. But yeah, that's all I'm going to say because it is a fantastic series. The character development is incredible. The plot, I just absolutely love it. There are trigger warnings though, you know, it's got to do with war. There's many trigger words and there are many trigger warnings, so definitely just check those out just, you know, before picking it up. And yeah, fantastic. And then I read Il Piccolo Principe, The Little Prince by Antoine de Saint-Exupéry. I do not speak French, guys, and I probably butchered that. But I read it in Italian, which is why I said Il Piccolo Principe to begin with. There is a blog on my channel. It was the first time I ever read an Italian book, and guys, one of my goals this year was to read one book in Italian, so, you know, the other goals that I set, not going so well, but this one, we achieved it. So I did this because obviously I had the Italian exam, so, you know, combining reading, my love of reading and kind of studying, it was just to try and like help me out. I think most of you know the story of The Little Prince, and it is like so famous. This book has been translated into so many different languages, and honestly, for me, reading my first book is a children's book, so I think it was actually a really great book to pick up if you're learning a second language, and you know, because you can't just dive in straight into like some high fantasy or something, so you need to build yourself up, and this was like a really great start. It's, I don't know, you get to see an insight of how like children think, and also these different explanations, and like I said, for learning the language it's really good because it used all those kind of basic tenses for me. I can't remember if I gave a rating because I don't have it written down on my story graph, and I think it's kind of hard to rate because I read it in a different language, so it's like I didn't take it in the same format, but I think it's really great. It's a fun book, it's a great children's book. I thought it was really fun seeing him go through these different planets and these different kind of experiences with different people and the things that went on and he discovered. So yeah, I thought that was really fun. In May, guys, like I said, I read one book, and the book I actually read, I started in April, and it was the second book I had planned to pick up as part of Magical Hopathon, and I did even like start a vlog for Magical Hopathon, and guys, obviously didn't finish it. And you're never gonna see it because that was this, I've not even looked at the footage myself. It'll be terrible. But anyway, one book in May, and like I said, it was just finishing off the book that I picked up in April, and I finished this at the very end of May because honestly, like I said, I was like full on panic studying mode. So the book that I read in May was The Strange Case of Alchemist's Daughter by Theodore Goss, and this is #1 in like the Athena Club book series, and this was bought for me by Victoria from What Victoria Read, so thank you so much. She bought me at Christmas, and yes, this was also a 5-star prediction for me. I did that video a while ago, guys, around December or like January for like the first part of this year, and I think this is the only one I've picked up so far, so I'm doing fantastic on that goal, guys. But this, yes, wasn't a 5-star, but it was a 4-star. I think it was probably because I read it over a longer period of time and I wasn't in my best reading mind frame, you know. I still really enjoyed it, but I don't know if I read it at a different time, if I would have given it a higher rating, if I was like full on, like, you know, in the book for like a week or something. But I read this physically, but I also was listening to the audiobook from Scribd, and Scribd, fantastic, guys, love Scribd. And this, the audiobook as well, guys, and the way this is written, fantastic, guys. It's a fantastic audiobook and this is a fantastic book. So this follows Mary Jekyll, alone and penniless following her parents' death, quickly finds herself drawn into the secrets of her father's mysterious past. A clue leads her to believe that Edward Hyde, her father's former friend and murderer, may be nearby, and there's still a reward for information resulting in his capture, a reward that would solve all her immediate financial woes. But her hunt brings her not to Edward Hyde, but to Diana, his daughter, a near feral child left to be raised by nuns. With the assistance of Sherlock Holmes and Dr. Watson, Mary continues her search for the elusive Hyde, and soon gathers around her more women, all of whom have been created through terrifying experimentation: Beatrice Rappaccini, Catherine Monroe, and Justine Frankenstein. When their investigations lead them to the discovery of a secret society of immoral and power-crazed scientists, the horrors of their past soon arrive on their doorstep as well. And now it's up to the 5 women to stop the malicious manifestations of the Société des Alchemists. Quite simply, it's the time for the monsters to triumph over the monstrous. So yeah, that's the premise, guys. I really enjoyed it. It's a great cast of characters. I love to see that we see Sherlock Holmes and Dr. Watson, and plus all of the women. And the great thing about this, reading it physically and in the audiobook, is that it's basically, this book has been written as them as the Athena Club. It's been written by Catherine, and I love how the others like interject, like the other women will interject like no, and then they tell their parts, and like it's just fun. I love how it's written because you just, you know, you really get their story and you get to see their different personalities and characters, and it was really great. And that is all the books that I read over the last 2 months, and not the most that I've read ever. However, you know, it is what it is. I'm slowly getting back into my reading, guys. Just, you know, taking it slow now in June, not done any TBR. I'm just gonna read what I feel like, but I also have NetGalley arcs that I was supposed to read in April that I have not, so those will probably be first on the list. And yeah, I'm gonna slowly get back into my reading and making some content for you guys. I'm probably gonna be posting once a week for at least June, just to get back into that kind of flow of things. And yeah, you know, despite only having read 4 books over the last 2 months, I've read 30 books. My goal for the year was 52. So I'm ahead by 7 books, according to Storygraph. So despite this slump, I'm still on track for that goal. So that is absolutely fantastic. And yeah, comment, like, subscribe, and I will hopefully see you in the next one. Bye. This one, it always, love to see that. I love that we get to see Sherlock Holmes and I love to see that, yeah,